At the moment, the situation with the broadcasters is that they're still evaluating programmatic as a channel for them to start to monetize their inventory. They want to understand every nook and cranny about the technology. They want to understand if it's going to cannibalize their direct spend. They want to understand if it's going to create yield for them. And these are all absolutely valid questions from very, very sophisticated media transactions of people who own this media. So, it's completely welcomed. And I think what we're seeing at the moment from these bigger broadcasters, and certainly actually more, I would say, US and Central European, is slow adoption, which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's heading in the right direction. The recent acquisition of Spot Exchange by RTL is a healthy sign that broadcaster companies are starting to evaluate programmatic technology, maybe not to start to onboard their linear TV into a programmatic market, but certainly to start to look at the ways that they can potentially operate programmatically as a business. We've seen this in the US as well with some of the big companies out there like Dish using OTT, as we've previously spoken about. But at the moment, still waiting for a big move from someone in the UK. Sky are certainly making all the right noises and are certainly talking about all the right technological needs, and are controlling it very, very well in the way that they're bringing this out to market. They're not over-promising, they're not releasing bits and pieces of information. They're coming out in a controlled manner and telling people what they can plan, what they can buy, how much it could cost, what the data is that's behind it. This is welcome. We want this kind of information. We don't want to hear bits and pieces, and we definitely don't want to see pieces of paper flying around with promises. So I welcome the slow adoption by broadcasters. It's always nice to get it quicker. How it could affect planning and buying going forward, it's still to be decided. Until we start to see this access start to open up, until we see broadcasters start to fully think about putting their linear TV in a programmatic platform, we can't even begin to fathom what that planning scape could look like. We could look to online video, and we could look to the VOD that these broadcasters maybe enable in programmatic platforms as a way to begin to estimate what programmatic planning for TV could look like. But it could be completely different. The commercial models of TV have been a long-standing situation, and they're not going to change very quickly. There's too many parties involved. Equally, a lot of the conversations that we have with the broadcasters around their infrastructure and the issues that their infrastructure brings them. And that's, again, not a criticism. These are big behemoths of media, so they're going to have technology that they've had for a very long time, and which is going to take a long time to update. I suppose the key to the rest of the market, and for us as media buyers and agencies, is to hopefully be as collaborative as possible with these people and these companies, and try and help them find their feet, try and help them direct them in the right location or the direct person that they need to speak to. It's going to be a collaborative approach at the end of the day, and that's something that, at least within VivaKi, is absolutely integral to the way that we operate as a business. We want to work with great publishers. We want to work with great media companies. So collaboration is key for us, and we'll happily talk to any broadcaster around this. There is certainly one or two in the UK market who are definitely making the moves, or at least the notions or sounds that programmatic TV could come to fruition. But initially, it's all going to be programmatic VOD, or their online video, which they will begin to trade programmatically. The companies that have come to market offering TV synchronization, the creativity, first of all, to begin to think about synchronizing online ads to TV as perfectly as can be done as possible. I kind of applaud that creativity and that ability to find that open kind of door in the market and begin to think about technology that can fill it. I think that's fantastic. So these companies are, definitely innovating in a space that needs innovation. The accuracy to be able to target your online ads across display, video, or mobile against when a TV ad is shown on your television. Never before has accuracy like that been available to us. We've had TV schedules for a very long time, and we've had the ability to day part campaigns and pick specific hours to start to run digital campaigns, but never before have we had a potentially 2-second signal that lets us know to start activating our campaigns and running those campaigns. So it's an incredibly, incredibly powerful way to start to target media. And this is, in my eyes, it's one more way to target programmatic buying. We've got everything that we've had for the past couple of years. Now we get to append a fantastic feature of TV synchronization. The areas that probably still need to be developed around this space are more around the proof of TV synchronization working. And that is a very difficult thing, not because these technologies haven't answered the question, but because of the structure of the ecosystem. You have a TV that currently at the moment, unless some form of app is developed, won't listen to the people that are watching it, or the app on the mobile phone or the desktop or anything that they're consuming their media on won't talk to the TV. So those two pieces need to be joined up first. When we're advertising now, when we're switching campaigns on as a result of a TV sync tool, we are going to be hitting our audience, but we're also going to be hitting outside of our audience. And that can be defined as extended reach, but I would much prefer to take that spend that goes against that extended reach and deploy it to people who I know are actually watching the TV ad and who are actually consuming the media that I'm buying. That's just going to hopefully become something that will be solved in the next couple of months or even years. But the technology itself is, it's absolutely a step in the right direction. Brings us closer towards unifying two different ecosystems on two different technologies, two different ways of trading for a very long time, and trying to bring it more and more together. And that's been, the mantra of programmatic buying for a very long time is, how do we start to unify things? How do we start to have a consolidated view? Bit by bit, technology by technology, innovation by innovation, this is coming around. And it's welcomed, and I applaud the creativity and the innovation, and hopefully with more of that, we will join up the TV and the device. There's probably a few hurdles that we need to get through there in terms of privacy and consumer privacy, but it's not something that is impossible. Like, we need to find ways, I'm sure there is, but right now this is certainly something that is valuable, resonates well with clients, but I think there's just that last bit of the technology that we need to fix or to kind of improve. There is so much change in programmatic at the moment that it's very difficult to keep a track on everything. Our clients absolutely want us to keep track of as much as possible. What is happening at the moment within the programmatic industry is allowing us to keep track of the technological changes, the supply changes, and the ecosystem changing itself much easier. How that's happening is that we have a consolidation effect in the market of technology vendors, but also we have kind of an affirmation of some of the biggest media companies that we experience or interface with day to day, that they are still going to be here in the next couple of years' time. A great example of this, and they're going to be at Demetsco, is Google. They have a fantastic ecosystem. They have great data, they have great inventory, they have technology that is integrated and cannot be integrated with any other ecosystem. When I mean ecosystem, I mean a Yahoo or an AOL or a Facebook. These themselves are other ecosystems, and every one is at different stages of the formation of its own ecosystem. Google is probably one of the most advanced, but still not perfect. And also, that's just Google. We need to think about, how does Amazon begin to build its ecosystem and start to run its technology? There is great first-party data in the Amazon ecosystem. There is traits and patterns of behaviors of people who want to buy everything. You can understand what someone wants to buy from the Amazon data, from their search history. That is going to be itself another ecosystem. You're going to need to use Amazon technology to access that data. You're going to use Amazon technology to access that inventory. And it's very similar with AOL. They have their own data, they have their own inventory. Yahoo, they have their own data, their own inventory. So these patterns are forming, and it's more often than not, it's the big companies that have always been in our presence. They've always worked with us as a media system. And now they're just beginning to kind of formalize how they want to work programmatically. So those are the big things that I'm keeping track of at the moment, and that I'm trying to make sure my clients are aware of as much as possible. It makes the technology industry an easier thing to look at, because you can look at one platform that might not have that data or that inventory or that technological integration, and decide very quickly if that's a platform you want to work with, as opposed to someone like Amazon or AOL or Yahoo or Google, who you actually do want to work with because they have something there that you can't get anywhere else. So this consolidation is cleaning things up a little bit for us and allowing us to, actually digest the infamous Loom escape a little bit easier than what people have tried to in the past. So those are the big things that are happening for me. Equally, just the speed of adoption of programmatic now is just kind of, it's a little bit stupid in terms of the volume of work that is coming as a result of it, but it's a fantastic place to be because it's not slowing down, it's just getting faster and faster. The European markets are adopting incredibly quick, you know, and we'll probably be talking about Germany not adopting quick enough, but you know, from everything I see of that market, they're doing a fantastic job of working with the supply and demand mechanics of that market and adopting it to their advantage. So the big things for me are the emergence of these multi-ad ecosystems, and I'm actually writing a piece on that right now for another vendor like yourself, and also just the speed that this whole industry is moving at now. It's very quick, it's completely established. You know, we used to talk about the fact that this was a new thing and this was going to take time. Like, just like search, we're now on like this tidal wave of progression and innovation, and it's fantastic to be at. You know, you want to be at the pinnacle of that. You want to be at the forefront of it. You want to be writing the book on this. You don't want to be the one 6 months behind figuring out the barriers and the problems. You want to be discovering them and solving them there in the moment. So it's just an incredibly fantastic place to be right now. And they're the big things that I'm looking at. They're the big things that I'm noticing. And they're the things more often than not that I think will be on the, either not on the tips of people's tongues at Demexco, but certainly in the back of their heads.